Hello everyone, this is Shahar and I'm with SpillTheBeansTV, and today my special guest is Bob, the teacher Jenkins. Welcome, Bob.
Hey Shahar, great to be here.
Bob, I know in the next few minutes, we are going to talk a lot about how coaches and consultants can become even more successful. Before we go there, I would like to know a little bit about you, how you got started in all this.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on Spill the Beans TV. It's always a pleasure to watch your show. And what I love to do is empower coaches with the tools and the strategies to grow their business. Once upon a time, I was a high school teacher, so that's why I took on the brand name of Bob the Teacher once upon a time. And after 10 years in the classroom, I decided to try my hand at building a business. And I did not succeed very well for the first year or so, but what I discovered was my ability to teach people how to do things could be translated into the virtual world. And as I grew my business successfully, in about 18 months, I was able to quit my job and make more money, impact more people. I learned that other people wanted to know how to do what I did, or some version of it for themselves. And eventually I started to do more and more coaching, and for the last 3 years, I've been doing more coaching than any other aspect of my business.
Tell me, first of all, before we go into the topic itself, what do you like most about coaching?
Great question. I've done a lot of different strategies for business. I've done direct sales, network marketing, I've done affiliate marketing, I've had my own products. I have over 30 courses online. I've done live events. And then I've done the coaching. And through all that process, what I've always hungered for is the ability to spend time with people, share with them things that I know how to do, ask them questions that help them make decisions, and then see them through to the result. And all the things that I tried out, the one thing about coaching that has been solid for me every single time is that I get to spend a more intimate connection with that business owner on the other side of the phone or at a retreat, and I get to see them through to the finish, or at least to the next phase of their business, and then they keep on growing, right? With all the online courses, with even the virtual workshops, it's difficult because they're so short term to really see people implement what it is that we're talking about to the level of success that they want to be. But as a coach, I get to spend 6 months, a year, sometimes up to 2 years or more, working with people and seeing them through every step of the way. So that personal connection of really seeing what they're up to doing, helping them, clarify that vision, clear out the obstacles, the technology hurdles or the mindset issues, and then go for it and get it. That's really exciting.
For me, it's exactly the same. We have other modalities where in our business, like online courses, but when we are with the client and we are in that process, so maybe 6 months, maybe many years, first of all, I think I belong to that business as well. So it becomes my baby as well. When you start seeing the results, it's really thrilling. I mean, there's really nothing that compares to that. And I mean, I can't imagine myself doing something else at this point, because it is fun. It is a lot of fun. Do you mind if we start talking about the mistakes you see coaches making out there?
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a ton.
Yeah,
There really are a ton. The first one is trying to coach without being solid yourself. So Teresa and I just had the chance to speak at an event, and we coined a phrase. I don't know if anybody else has used this before, but we came up with quicksand coaching. Which is to say that you're trying to coach on ground that keeps sinking because you're not solid yourself. And you've got to be solid. You got to know what you want out of your business. You got to know who you want to talk to as a coach. You want to know what you can provide to them, and then bring it, and not rely on somebody else's methods that don't resonate with you. And if you're not confident in where you are at right now, then you're in quicksand coaching, and you're just going to keep sinking. Number two would be trying to price your coaching by the hour or by the session. So you'll hear Shahar talk about this on other trainings about trading time for dollars. And one of the biggest mistakes that coaches do is they're actually taught this by certification programs, is to trade your time for dollars. to have a rate, an hourly rate or a per session rate. And then when you go to quote your fees to your clients or your prospects you want to have as clients, then you turn into, well, for 10 sessions, that's going to be $100 a session, so our program is $1,000, okay? The mistake behind that is that the person listening to that, all they hear is per session, it's this much. So they'll say things like, well, how about I just buy 5 sessions for $500? They'll try to a la carte your stuff to fit their budget. And the other side of that is they'll go to another coach who they feel does the same kind of work as you, and their fees are $80 an hour, let's say. And you know, we know as coaches that not all coaches are created equally, but assuming that they are, you're just going to become a commodity, okay? Yeah. Another mistake is to avoid or ignore the online world. Mm-hmm. So most coaches begin getting clients through word of mouth, through referral, and that's great. Like, I want you to get clients, I want you to have a full practice, and if you can get them all word of mouth, perfect. However, if you really want to grow a sustainable coaching business, then you're going to have to use online methods to branch out beyond your zip code and to be able to leverage the population that's out there in the world, both as potential clients and as referral partners. Mm-hmm. So don't ignore online strategies to grow your business. And obviously we're going to share a little bit more about that today too, of what to do instead. So but those are the top 3 mistakes I see coaches making right now, Shahar.
Tell me some things we all can do to grow our business in the coaching industry.
Awesome. So one thing is to keep track of your results and your clients' results. Okay. So whether that's an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document or a mind map, do your best to keep track of where they start and where they wind up. Okay. And the reason you want to do that is a couple of reasons. First of all, you'll be a better coach if you're helping your client keep track of what they want and how they're doing and getting there. So, you know, we're kind of jumped into the coaching conversation here. Let me be clear. I'm talking about business coaching, financial coaching, nutrition coaching, fitness coaching, financial coaching, parent coaching. Anything you're doing has a where are they right now, or I guess I'll go here. Where are they right now and where do they want to go? Okay, what's that transformation in between? And so if you keep track of where they are when they start with you and where they go along the way, then you have testimonials, you have stories, you have case studies that you can share. And that's very powerful because when somebody goes to hire you as their coach, they want to know that you have had success, that you have a track record. And of course, every interaction you have is going to be individual to that person that you're dealing with next. But they are going to want to see some of those results. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to have as much trust in you. And you really need to have a good trusting relationship for coaching to be as powerful as it should be. The second thing is to get out. It is to get out of your home, get out of your city, and go to live events, go to speak at conferences, attend conferences, and get to know people, get to see what people are dealing with all over the place. And what that does is it gives you a real world example from all over the place, not just your inner circle that you have right now, but it also gives you the opportunity to find new clients. It gives you the opportunity to meet people who have an audience that you can speak to. You know, Shahar, you and I met a couple of years ago at a live event. We met as part of a mastermind group, right? And if it wasn't part of that live event, we would never have had the opportunity to connect, to have a great time, to go geocaching in the middle of Salt Lake City.
That was fun.
That was all kinds of fun, right?
Yeah.
But also, we wouldn't have the chance to share our audiences with one another, to help you get your word out to more people. You've spoken at my live event. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to come to speak at your live event or these virtual trainings we're doing right now. And my business has grown because of that, as your business has grown too. So you got to get out there and meet new prospects and clients, but also potential partners who can spread the word about you. One of the things I think is another mistake coaches have is they don't fine-tune what they do for people. And it's tough because as a coach, you're trained if formally, or you do it informally, but usually it's formally, you're trained that you do X, Y, and Z for people. But usually that's in some kind of jargon. And networking events allow you to get out, do everything we've been talking about, but also to fine-tune your message. So that if you say to people, you know, I take them through this process of EFT, and then we do this with them, and then we use neuromagnetism and stuff like that you guys are doing. All those things are, you know, jargon and in their head. When you fine-tune your message, because you can see the body language of the people you're talking to, and they're like, whatever you're talking about doesn't sound like it's for me. When what you really do for people, like in my case, is I show you how to get more clients with online tools and make it simple for you to do so.
And the fine-tuning is also not trying to say you can help them with everything, because this is something I see coaches do, especially life coaches, that they want to say that they work mind, body, and spirit, plus marketing, plus business. And the fact that when you show people that you're wearing too many hats, you just confuse them. Any other things we can do to grow our business?
Yeah, so another thing is to make sure that you have the ability to build a list online so that you can communicate with people over time. Most people, and I would make up a number here, but I'd say 98% of people who you casually encounter are not ready for your coaching. They don't understand it. You don't have enough of an opportunity to explain what it is that you do in a way that makes them feel like, hey, I've got to have that. But if they are at least remotely interested, and you have a mechanism on your website, you have a little box that says, if you want more information, or you want a free report, you want a free video, you want X in order to move forward in this direction, then put in your name and your email address. And that's very powerful because it allows you to not have to repeat your efforts so much. You know, if you have that opportunity to talk to somebody at an event and say, you know, why don't I send you a free video that shows you 3 ways to grow your coaching business over the next 30 days? You know, you're going to be interested in that. You're not going to feel like you got to get sucked in to a coaching relationship right off the bat, okay? Which allows you, as the coach, to give them some information, to give them something valuable that will help them, and because you now have their email address and permission to send them more info, you can then say, hey, coming up next month, I'm doing a 4-week virtual coaching program. I'd love to tell you more about it. I'm doing a webinar. Here's where to show up, okay? Or here is another 3 steps to grow your business, and I'm writing a book that I want you to, you know, give me some feedback on. You know, there's all kinds of things that you can do with that list, but if you don't have it, then all of your efforts are basically one-off efforts. I meet you, we say hello, we exchange business cards, we forget about each other.
It's basically follow-up, and people tend to think that follow-up is what you do after you make a sale, but actually when you're meeting a prospect, afterwards there should be some follow-up, and autoresponders are just easy. You do the work once, and it can work for you for years, right? Now, you mentioned autoresponders, and I know some people don't know what they are, and they would also like some other tools that use that would help automate their business and help them even with prospecting. So, and I know you love this kind of stuff, right? You are the guy that you go and check out every single software, every single tool. So give us some sugar here. Absolutely. And what we can do with tools online.
My favorite tool is an autoresponder, okay? And that's for any type of business, whether you're coaching or not. And I utilize a service called Aweber. There are a lot of other ones out there. What you want to make sure of is that you're able to send follow-up messages and broadcast messages, which means people who come into your what we call a funnel, when they first connect with you, the follow-up sequence automatically goes out one after the other for everybody, no matter where they join. And then the broadcasts go out at the particular time and date that you say. And it only goes out to those people that are on your list. Now for coaching, there's 2 more big tools that I use regularly in my business. One is a tool called FreeMind, and that's a mind mapping software, and I use that with my clients, both with and without them, to help keep track of what we're doing. The third tool that I have is called Time Trade, and this is a website that allows you to set up an online calendar. One of the biggest time hassles for coaches is actually setting appointments. And when you first get a client on board, you may be tempted to, you know, slot them in every Wednesday at 3 o'clock or something like that, and that can be okay. However, I prefer to use this online calendar because it puts the responsibility on the coaching client to both set the appointment and to value your time. Okay, so they set up a time, they pick the time, there's an automatic reminder for them set up in the system, and if they want to cancel it, they can cancel it, they can reschedule, depending on your cancellation policies and everything else. But for you, all you have to do is send them a link and say, here's where you go to sign up to your next session, and you get to set the exact days and times that you have available to you. I found that to be very, very helpful. And the last tip I'll give you, the last tool I'll give you for now, is a conference call system. Some people do coaching via Skype. Some people do it via the phone. I personally prefer to use a conference call system. I also use it for teleseminars and other things like that, but I love using it for coaching. The system I use is called welcometothecall.com. And what I love about it is it allows me to record the call. I call in, they call in, so they don't have my home phone number, which is very important to set up some boundaries with your coaching clients. And because you're able to, work and record this call, you're able to send them an MP3 file right away. And what I love about that is that if you have a person on a coaching call, especially a business or fitness or health, where they have to follow action steps afterwards, instead of them emailing you and saying, hey, I tried to take notes, but I just missed what you said about X or Y, can you please email me what you said? Instead of you taking the time and doing that, which you shouldn't do, but instead of doing that, you just send them the recording. And I just have it as a general rule that all my coaching clients get the recordings. They can listen to it. And it also puts them at ease during the call, right? They don't have to feel like they have to take all the notes right then and there. They can really be present at their questions and what I'm saying in response, and we have a better time, a more efficient time working together.
Yeah, and you also mentioned the fact that you have to value your time and put some boundaries, right? Again, going back to increasing the perception of value is being less available and more exclusive. It plays part of how you're perceived, and you have to control that access of communication, because it's easy when you have one client, right, Bob? But if you have a lot of them, you go crazy just answering emails. If you don't mind, I'll give a tip as well. We, in our, especially for face-to-face, we have a pad where we actually put the things that the client is supposed to do to the next session, and every single time they are supposed to rate that meeting from 0 to 10 and sign. This does two things. One of them is bring accountability for both sides, and also gives me an overview of how I've been perceived by the client. So for example, if for any reason I would get a 3, a 4, a 5, I would have to stop by myself and question why I didn't perform during that meeting. Why was there any frustration in the process? So it's very, very important to do that. You can find other ways, but it's just like you said, it needs to be there in any time you need to show the client.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And one of the things that I love to do in that same kind of numbering system, I learned this actually from Therese Barbie, who you had on recently.
Yeah.
And that was, if it's a 7 right now, or if it's a 3 right now, it doesn't matter what the number is, what does a 10 look like? Mm-hmm. So that you can get clear with them and with you about what they really want out of that relationship or out of the goal that they're setting.
Yeah. What else can we tell our friends here about the coaching business that they can use?
Well, I'd love to share with you something that Teresa and I developed for our last program, which is 5 questions that you need to be able to ask as a coach. Right. Okay. Right. Now I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I might forget one of them, but let's go through the ones that I can remember, and I should be able to get all 5. So the most important question for you to be able to ask as a coach for your clients is, what do you want? What do you want? Because you want to make sure that they're not doing things just because people told them so. That includes you, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're not there in a coaching relationship. You're not there as a teacher or as a mentor who says, here's the steps to follow. Now, there may be some of that included in the kind of coaching you do, but in the general scheme of things as a coach, you're there to facilitate transformation. And usually that comes from what the person who you're coaching is wanting. Okay, so you got to be good at asking them, what do you want? The second question that you should be able to ask is, how's that working for you? How's that working for you? So when they say, hey, I'm doing social media and we're doing 3 hours of Facebook every day, as a business coach, I get to say, well, how's that working for you? If you say, well, I get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and go till 10 o'clock at nighttime, and that's my schedule, and I'm, go, but I'm not seeing results, I can say, well, how's that working for you? Doesn't matter what it is. This is your chance to get the coachee or the client to say, here's what I want, and I realize that what I'm doing isn't actually helping me to get there, so it's not working for me. Or if it is working for them, they can do more of that. Okay. Another question that you can ask of your coaching clients is taking them through the process of what does a 10 look like. So I mentioned this a moment ago. If this project is completed, if you do your work as you say you're going to do, if you make those phone calls, you do those sales presentations, you do the fitness program, you start drinking green smoothies, whatever it is, ask the question, what does a 10 look like? What does a 10 result look like? So that they can really envision where they're going, what they're headed to. Okay. So another question is around responsibility. And I like to ask, depending on the type of relationship I already have with that client, I'll ask some version of, what do you think could be the real reasons why you aren't where you want to be right now? What do you think could be?
That's a tough one.
Exactly. Because most people, if you ask them that question, they will try to be defensive at first and deflect. But if you have a good, trusting relationship, they'll really start peeling back the onion, and they'll start getting a little bit more vulnerable, and they'll be able to reveal, well, actually, maybe I've been watching a little bit too much TV this week. Maybe I didn't talk to my kid the way that I wanted to. I actually heard my father's voice in my head when I was in that conversation. Or when I went to the store, I bought that extra set of Entenmann's donuts that maybe I shouldn't have bought and brought into the house. They'll get clear. And the important part about this question is keep asking it. Don't let one answer be sufficient. After they answer what's one reason, then you ask for another reason. Then you ask for another reason, because you want to make sure you get to the real heart of the matter. And a lot of folks, if you don't do that, if you're trying to be too careful with them or you try to gloss over too much, they'll never get to that root reason why they are not where they want to be, and they don't get that fire under them to make a difference and make a change for themselves.
That is awesome, Bob. I have to say, this is super awesome, because when you're pushing them with questions, they go to another level of thinking that will make them really realize things as they need to be. So I like that a lot. Can I go back to number 2 for a second?
Sure.
How do you deal with the fact that if you start, for example, showing them tools and things that they can do online, sometimes they just want that magic because that's very exciting for them, and they don't want to take care of what needs to be taken care of. At the beginning, I fell prey for that quite a few times, because it came to a point that people would come and I had to show them something new, because they would, I would get a 10 very easily that day, but they didn't want to deal with the other issues, like how is it working for you? It's not working very well, so you shouldn't be focusing so much on tools. So how do you have this kind of experience, and if so, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, actually, Shahar, it's a great question, and you just have to feel very strong, again, not on quicksand in your coaching, to ask the question. And if people say, I don't want to deal with that, and say, well, I'd love to show you how to create a Facebook fan page that gets you 5,000 fans. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, when you communicate to those people right now, you're edgy, not in a good way. You're arrogant, you're an asshole, nobody's going to want to do business with you, so they'll like your page, but we got to get to something else that's a little bit more at the root of things in order for you to really attract the business. And that's just your job as a coach, to feel strong enough to do that. Now, your language may not be as direct as that, but you want to know that you're coaching clients who do come to you and ask for you to help them create a business, a health, a family, a relationship, a life they want, whatever that is that you're helping them to do, that they need that tough support. Okay, and sometimes you have to provide that in a way that gets them to say, "Holy cow, that was a little bit harsh,"
Yeah.
but it's all done with love. It's all done with this spirit of getting to the heart of it.
It's important, though, for us to understand that we have to have that tough love. We might have to wait for the moment, like you said, but we are not here to. I actually tell my clients, I have maybe a harsh approach, but I tell them at the beginning that I'm not there to please them, but to make them reach the end goal. So there will be times that we'll disagree, and I say I do play the devil's advocate quite a bit. And we do with some of them, I also have some clients that have post-traumatic stress, is identify at the beginning what types of triggers would make them react instead of listen. And I respect those. You see, but at the end, doesn't matter my approach or your approach, the thing is, we have to understand there will be moments where we have to give some tough love. Anything else that we would like to tell our crowd today before, of course, you tell us about how you have coaches go to the next level?
Yeah. Actually, the fifth question, I was able to remember all five.
Oh, good.
So I'm happy about that. The fifth question is, what's the impact of your decision you're making right now going to have on you, on your family, on your community, on your customers? Now,
Nice.
Not all four of those groups need to be addressed at the same time, but you as a coach determine, okay, so you're going to release a program that does X, Y, and Z, okay, and you want to do it in the next 30 days and it has this stuff in it, whatever. So as a coach, you can say, as you're planning it, well, what will the impact of that be on your family? So if you start to create a program that's going to cause you more hours of the day and take you away from your family, and you realize before you start that that's not cool, you're not going to be good with that, then you're going to be able to make a different version of your program that is in alignment with what you want for your family and for your business. So you have a better balance, okay? So I find that a lot of folks, they start building this business, whatever it happens to be, and they don't think about those things. They don't think about the impact that doing a webinar at 12 o'clock in the afternoon is going to have on their family, if they're a stay-at-home mom, let's say, or if they are going to start doing stuff on the weekends. On the other side of things, you want to make sure that you're having a big impact both for your family and your clients and your customers. So if you start to release something and you ask the question, what's the impact of that on your community, meaning your client base and the people who support them, and you can answer very positively, then it gets you fired up, right? It gets you excited about that project. And that allows you to move forward with a lot more confidence. When I went through some coaching training in a program called Radical Leadership, the director of that, founder of that, Therese Keenest, asked me, what's going to be different in 300 years because you did what you're doing today?
Wow.
If you can think about that kind of question and the impact that you're having on a regular basis, it's very powerful to say, well, I guess, 300 years from now, people are going to have a lot more of simplicity. People are going to have a lot more empowerment in their life because of what I'm doing today. That gets me fired up. If I were to say instead, well, 300 years from now, people aren't going to know my name for what I'm doing today because what I'm doing doesn't really matter. Well, why am I doing it, right?
Yeah.
So cool question and great concept.
It's awesome. Let's try to repeat those five. So if people are taking notes, I'll try to read my handwriting and you rely on your memory.
Sure.
So the first one is, what do you want?
That's
correct?
right.
Mm-hmm. The second one is, so how is it working for you?
Mm-hmm.
Very good question. What does a 10 look like? Correct? This one I'm not sure I can read everything I wrote, but what do you think is the real reason why you're not there yet? Is that the
awesome?
One? Okay.
Yep.
And the fifth one, what's the impact of the decisions you're making right now?
You got it.
Yeah, I got it. Cool.
A plus.
Then I didn't get a 10 again.
A 10 is an A plus.
Oh, yeah, I'm from another country. We don't use letters. We use numbers.
Gotcha. You get a 10. I don't know Brazilian grading scale, but that's what you get.
Yeah, it goes up to a 10. Good. Bob, tell me about your programs to help coaches now.
Awesome. So I love to work with folks in groups and in small one-on-one scenarios and so forth. And that takes a lot of different flavors. But what I love to do is actually introduce you to some more of these concepts of what it takes to be a good coach. And if it starts to click with you, let's get on the phone together. Okay. So what I want you to do is go to coachingincomesecrets.com/buzz, BUZZ. Okay. And that's going to take you to a download of an audio program that I have for you that's going to walk you through some more of the tips and strategies I have to build a business. And you'll hear some cool stuff. And then just let me know what your thoughts are about your business, what's missing, and if you think that you and I should explore some of the possibilities, let's get on the phone together. I have a system to help you with that. But it starts with that recording, okay? And that gives you an opportunity to learn a little bit more. And like I said, we'll get on the phone. Couple things that I love to do with folks is to do a retreat. So, one of the options that I'll share, if it's appropriate, is the opportunity to hang out with Teresa and I for a weekend and really get to know what's going on in your business and make the next 6 months amazing for what you're up to creating. And of course, I have some other things, but get started first at coachingincomesecrets.com/buzz. And that's all lowercase letters, BUZZ. And let's keep the conversation going.
That's nice. I'm going to download that audio myself. And it's important when we are choosing who we are going to work with, especially in this day and age, that the person has tried different modalities of coaching, which you have, quite a few of them, and you have the technological knowledge as well that is crucial today. So tell the URL one more time.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about being a business coach who's had both the teacher-trainer side of things and some training in the coaching world. Okay, so I can make sure that if, as a business coach, I say, well, you want less of a schedule, you want to do some audio programs to attract more clients in the door, I can tell you, hey, you should do a teleseminar, and you should put the recording up on your website, and that'll help you get more clients. Well, most coaches would stop there. I can then say, and here's the technical system to use. Here are the buttons to push. Here's how to get the recording uploaded to your website. You don't have a website? Here's what you need to ask someone else to do for you, or here's how to do it yourself. I have all those types of things as part of what I offer to people. So it really is fun to be a business coach who can train at the same time, because I can help you make those decisions simpler, save you a lot of money and sending stuff to the wrong people, and feel very confident and
a lot of headache as well, right? You're saving them a lot of headaches in the process.
Absolutely.
Because there is no way to run a business today without some automation, some internet in the process. So you have to take the fear out and allow somebody that really knows to help you in that process.
That's right. So again, the URL is coachingincomesecrets.com/buzz. And I'm sure if you're listening to the replay of this, there will be a link right underneath of the video.
Okay, can I say that when they decide to work with you, you and Therese will also, during the retreat, show them how to do geocaching?
Actually, that's a great request. And I think that that would not be a problem at all, because we have plenty of geocaches in the Twin Cities area.
Good.
What I would request is that if you do join us in one of these events, that you remind me of that, because I might forget, and say, hey, Shahar said you've got to take us geocaching, and we need a micro, and we also need, what's the other one?
You just did the macro and
we need a nano and a micro, at least.
Yeah, cool. Bob, thank you very much. I had a lot of fun, and I wrote a lot. See, it's true here, because I did learn, and I think those questions alone are worth gold to any coach today, because these are simple things that help not only you help your clients, but even keep the control of your business in a smooth format. So thank you very much, and I'll see you all next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Shahar.